What's the greatest movie behind the scenes fact you know? The big reveal that Darth Vader is Luke's father was a crazily guarded secret. Even the actor who played Vader didn't know. As most people know, Vader's body was played by David Prowse, and his voice was James Earl Jones. During filming though, Prowse did say his lines. During that scene, what he actually says is "Obi-Wan killed your father." Hamill was only told moments before what the actual line was going to wind up being, and none of the other actors knew. No one knew except Lucas, the director, and some producers. It kind of makes sense when you think of the way Mark Hamill delivered the line, "He told me you killed him." During the filming of The Princess Bride, Mandy Patinkin's Inigo Montoya father died from cancer. When he came back from the funeral, they had to shoot the scene where he killed the six-fingered man. It gives him a special fire in his eyes when he says, "I want my father back. You son of a rick." In The Emperor's New Groove, I think I have this right. Remember the bit where Patrick Kronk Warburton is trying to hide Cusco's body and doing this off-key singing? According to the director, Warburton, while a funny man, can't sing at all, and his tone-deaf noise making is not an act. Even better, it was improvised, and thus, technically, he was the composer of the music. And, as the composer, Disney's lawyers insisted that he sell them the rights to the music. The irony of this was not lost on anyone. A couple of Disney ones. In The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Kevin Kline, who plays Phoebus, waved a plastic prop sword around while doing his lines. They had to hang the microphone higher because he kept hitting it. Also in Hunt, the animators gave Frollo's horse a name, Snowball. Pick for reference. In Hercules, Hades was originally intended to be a lot more like Frollo or Jafar, calm, slow talking, elegant, refined, etc. But James would read the dialogue as if he was a used car salesman in his audition and wound up getting the role. In an alternate ending of The Nightmare Before Christmas, it was revealed that Oogie Boogie was a giant puppet being manipulated by Dr. Finkelstein. In The Princess and the Frog, the voice actress playing Tiana is left-handed and insisted that Tiana also be left-handed. During the shoot of The Shining, Stanley Kubrick actually scared Wendy to the point that, in the scene where she gets slowly chased up the stairs by Jack while trying to defend herself with a baseball bat, she was actually terrified. BTW, it was Stanley Kubrick who chased her up the stairs. Also, they had to reinforce the door that Jack Nicholson breaks down, as he was actually a firefighter and was demolishing it far too quickly. District 9 was almost completely unscripted. They had the story plotted out, but when it came to shooting scenes, they would just sort of wing it. Sharlto Copley, the star, had never really acted before. He was a TV producer who Neil Blomkamp worked for as a teenager. During filming of The Godfather, Marlon Brando stayed in character a lot but was still a prankster on set. In one scene, characters are supposed to pick up bags from a car, so Brando put a bunch of weight in them and didn't tell anyone until they were struggling to pick them up on camera. Brad Pitt apparently is too. During the filming of Moneyball, Jonah Hill liked to ride a special golf cart around set, so Pitt stole it one day and had it painted pink. Jonah loves Wham written on the windshield with a little picture of them photoshopped onto a pic of Wham and rigged the radio to blast "Wake Me Up Before You Go Go." Edit, found a photo of the cart. While looking for a tattered coat for the character playing the wizard in The Wizard of Oz, a costumer Stan bought one from a second-hand store. When the actor put the coat on, he turned the pocket inside out. Written in the pocket was the name L. Frank Baum, who is the author of the Wizard of Oz books. Baum's widow later identified the coat as actually having belonged to her husband. This is the kind of shit that gives me goosebumps. Like, what are the chances? Amazing. The actors of Saving Private Ryan were put through basic training before filming, except Matt Damon, so that the other actors would build some sort of unconscious resentment towards his character. And the man who put them through the training? None other than USMC retired Captain Dale Dye. Dye had a small on-screen role in Saving Private Ryan, alongside Bryan Cranston, and played Colonel Robert Zink in Band of Brothers. They put the Bob actors through boot camp as well. You can see snippets of it in the Ron Livingston's Video Diaries featurette. Edit, added link. While filming Guardians of the Galaxy, they had to do several takes of some scenes because Chris Pratt kept making the pew pew sounds when he fired his ray gun. Didn't this happen with Ewan McGregor on The Phantom Menace too? He made the lightsaber sounds during practice and couldn't stop because he used to do it that way when he played with lightsabers as a child. Fight Club was filmed in chronological order. And throughout the filming, Edward Norton put himself on a near starvation diet and avoided the sun, while Brad Pitt spent a lot of time at the gym and in tanning salons. The end result is we see Tyler Durden getting stronger and healthier while the narrator withers away. Every time one of these AskReddit questions comes along, there's always a fact about Fight Club, and it's always one I haven't heard of yet. Damn. What a great movie. In Raiders of the Lost Ark, the snakes, being cold-blooded, went towards the thrown torch, causing the director to complain at the snakes. "You're ruining my movie." In Life of Brian, the line after "yes, we're all individuals, I'm not," was ad-libbed, bumping the extra up in pay for now having a distinct speaking role. In the flower shop scene in The Room, when Johnny says "oh hi, doggy," that was a genuine reaction. He didn't realize that the dog was, in his own words, a real thing. In Anchorman, during the Six Panther scene, Paul Rudd was determined to make Will Ferrell laugh and break character since it was always the other way around. He thought that this would be accomplished with the 60% of the time it works. Every time line. Will fired back with "that doesn't even make sense" line without skipping a beat, once again making Paul Others break character yet again. That's because Will Ferrell doesn't play characters, he just plays himself. Duck the Habs. On the set of The Blues Brothers, they had to get John Belushi to go and tell Carrie Fisher she was doing too much coke. That movie had a coke budget. Like a regular department budget, coke gets its own budget. Amazing. Every movie made in the 80s had a coke budget. I think it was in The Shining. The kid didn't know they were making a horror movie. He's a professor now. He hates when people bring it up. One of my friends had a class with Peter Weller, the original RoboCop. One of the first things he said in the first lecture was, "Yes, I played RoboCop. You guys have 15 minutes to ask whatever you want. After that, no more movie questions." 3 people were struck by lightning during the filming of The Passion of the Christ. In Goodfellas, the spaghetti they're eating was cooked by Scorsese's mother. Mom's spaghetti? While filming Total Recall, Schwarzenegger noticed the Michael Ironside was constantly on the phone between takes. When he broached the subject with Ironside, he was told that he was phoning his sister and that she was currently suffering from cancer. Arnold immediately brought Michael to his trailer and they had an hour-long 3-way conversation with the sister about what exercises to do and what kinds of food she should be eating, and really lifting her spirits. Ironside has never forgotten Schwarzenegger's kindness, and neither has his sister. In Alien Resurrection, Sigourney Weaver really did make that no-look, over-the-shoulder basketball shot. Ron Perlman almost blew the take because he was so surprised. Apparently the scientists for Interstellar did so much theoretical physics to get the wormhole and black hole effects right that their work is going to be published into a scientific paper. Can't find a source on that right now though. One of the producers was Kip Thorne, a physicist who is one of the leading experts on general relativity, and black holes in particular. He worked with the VFX teams to make sure the effects shots actually behave the laws of physics. When Indeed Wire shows up at Anne's house naked in Parks and Rec, Chris Pratt is actually nude. That is Amy Poehler's actual reaction. Similarly, in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Jason Segel, when breaking up with Kristen Bell, was actually completely naked the whole time, even though the plan from the beginning was to have the shot cut off above his waist. In Scrubs, the janitor almost never read his script and just improvised his role. Bill Lawrence actually said that in the scripts. He hid whatever Neil says on his lines. Edit. Changed whatever janitor says to whatever Neil says. In A Knight's Tale. The scene where Mark Addy says yay I because the audience gives no reaction to Chaucer was improvised by Addy because the extras didn't speak English, they were Eastern Europeans, and had no idea when to chirp. In Hitchcock's Rope, which is composed of just a few very long takes. The Dodecum, which is extremely heavy and on rails, ran over a crew member's foot, breaking it. This was pretty deep into a good take from what I recall. So another stagehand just covered his mouth and dragged him off set rather than let his screams of pain ruin a lot of work. One of my favorites is from Predator. Jesse Ventura was delighted to find out from the wardrobe department that his arms were one bigger than Arnold Schwarzenegger's. He suggested to Schwarzenegger that they measure arms, with the winner getting a bottle of champagne. Ventura lost because Schwarzenegger had told the wardrobe department to tell Ventura that his arms were bigger. There are a ton of great ones from the movie.